أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله.
So we finished Jumu'ah prayer. One thing I gotta tell you guys about prayer in general, whenever you're surrounded with people that have like a common goal in common, and I know that sounded very cliche, but when you put people together with the common purpose, there should be some form of unity within it. If you take things that are out of the norm and you try to put it into something that is the norm in there, it causes a lot of ruckus and whatnot. My soul felt that peace, I felt that peace. Felt very uneasy because it's out of my natural habitat. But who really knows what's going on in this world of worlds? They talked about the earthquake today and they were talking about how time is becoming so irrelevant. Months become days, days become months, years become fucking minutes. No one really knows where their foot is anymore. This all started back in 2020 for the most of it, you know? God knows, man. Allah knows best, so let's see where this video goes.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة
I
الله.
don't know who else could relate, but usually I don't see this whenever I visualize whatever it is that I'm visualizing on the inside. I see someone a lot more uglier and a lot more meaner and a lot more like fightery, if that makes any sense in what I'm saying, but in reality I'm just a guy that's trying to look for love and peace and harmony within this world. But let's see where this video takes us, man. I think I mentioned this here before. I truly believe in the terminology of aging gracefully, with how as you grow, as your body ages, your spirit follows. Most of us currently live, I think, in a mindset of allowing the inner child to be the inner child. But if the inner child's making ruckus and noise in our adulthood, we gotta take a chill pill for a sec, reconsider the adult. We gotta think about stuff like this, man, especially in the times that we're living in today. Look at that. Like, it's very beautiful. And I think earlier I was talking about aging gracefully and what that means. And I think a big part of aging gracefully is allowing your body and your soul. And what I mean by body and soul is I mean that the body and soul is like a place of dual. You can't have one without the other. And we're not having either or together going towards the path. Let's just say the soul is 5 and the body is 90. It just won't make sense for the disconnection to departure off to wherever it is that we departure off after here. And one thing I noticed in my grandma's death and in other deaths is my grandma was such a pure lady at heart. She was a woman of God. She always said, remember God. Those are the things that always came out of her mouth. She was never insa Allah, but insa Rabbak, if we're speaking in Arabic. She was such at peace. And the situations that were happening in the Middle East about the war and how that was like a big red flag showed a lot of strength within my dad. Again, I'm going to talk about the earthquake that happened today for just like a short time. I don't really want to make a bigger deal about some things that aren't really that big of a deal. But that earthquake kind of puts things into perspective. And the last time we had an earthquake was probably 10, 11 years ago. And I remember that very vividly too. I was sitting on a bench outside smoking a cigarette. That was in my basement. I just heard the washing machines radiate very fast, but other than that, it made me remember today is Jumu'ah. And coming up is Jumu'ah, meaning Friday in the Islamic prayers, or in the Islamic calendar days. I don't know a lot about a lot of things, but I do know that I'm continuing on seeking. And this thing of guilt and shame, how we tend to carry it around as a thing of forever, is no longer. For if you really tend to quiet things down and take things into perspective, you start to hear the outer noises of the world really singing to you in a way. Look at the beauty around you. The beauty that we forget to look at. If we actually planted ourselves underneath here, just for a brief second, and we hear the bells playing around us, we would say to ourselves, it's not that bad of a place to be. But we don't take time out to take things into consideration from time to time. And what I mean by we is I mean you and I, if this is resonating with you, and if the shoe fits, wear it for this situation. Everything's gonna work out and everything's gonna be A-okay. I promise you that.